Hello students. Today we will start with the third part of chapter number 1, Rise of British Rule in India. Today we will see the subsidiary alliances system and policy of annexation. Before that, let's revise what we have done in the part 2. In the part 2, we have dealt with the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. Expansion of the company's rule. The English government passed a regulating act in the year 1773 AD, according to which the governor of the Bengal was made the Governor General. All the trade and political activities of the company were brought under his direct control. The Mumbai Madras governor and his council were brought under him. Thus, Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of India. On your pic, you can see the pic of Governor General Warren Hastings. According to this Regulating Act 1773 AD, they have made a new law, and according to that, they have just gone for a new position called Governor General, and other, you can say, the governors were directly under the control of him. So, Warren Hastings was the first Governor General, and because of that, whenever in India, whether it is related to trade or whether it is related to any kind of political activities, the generals have to take the permission of this Governor Generals. During his tenure, here tenure means when when Warren Hastings was the Governor General, the first Maratha War and the second Mysore War with Hyder Ali of Mysore was waged. So when he was ruling at that time, the first Maratha War and even the second Mysore War with the Hyder Ali of Mysore has been fought. The problem for the East India Company increased because it had to face both the power simultaneously. So it was a problematic because company has to fight both the power simultaneously. After Warren Hastings, Cornwallis took over as a Governor General. During the tenure of Cornwallis, the Third Mysore War took place with Tipu Sultan, which was famously known as a Tiger of Mysore. So here, this is a pic of, you can say, the Tipu Sultan, and he was famously known as a Tiger of Mysore. Apart from that, the company had to join hands with the Marathas and the Nizam to defeat the Tipu Sultan. Actually, for Britishers, it is not possible to win against Tipu Sultan, and that's why Britishers have joined hands on one side with the Maratha and another side with the Nizam. Tipu could not win against the combined forces and he had to accept the treaty. Now, on this side, Tipu Sultan was alone, and on another side, there were the army of British, army of Nizam, and even the army of Maratha. And because of that, Tipu Sultan has been defeated, and because of that, he has to accept the treaty. Here, the meaning of treaty means one kind of agreement according to the terms and condition. As Tipu Sultan has been defeated, whatever terms and condition has been decided by Britishers, Tipu Sultan has to follow that. Now, why was subsidiary alliances system introduced? This subsidiary alliances system is very, very important from the point of view of examinations. Now, after Cornwallis, Sir John Shore, this pic you can see, this is a pic of Sir John Shore. He became the Governor General. Due to some rigid policies adopted by him, the East India Company's fame declined and Marathas became stronger. Sir John Shore came to power, but some of his policies was very, very rigid, very much orthodox. And because of that, when he was ruling at that time, Maratha became stronger. So Governor General Wellesley, this is a peak of Governor General Wellesley, who came after John Shore, got the responsibility of making the company supreme in India. So when John Shore was ruling at that time, Marathas were supreme, Marathas were powerful. So he was not able to expand the British, you can say the British expansion. So after that, Governor General Wellesley came and he has taken the job, or he has taken the responsibility of expansion of British rule. For this, Wellesley introduced the new policy called subsidiary alliances system. Now let's see what is subsidiary alliances system. The army trained by the East India Company government will be provided to the state that accepts the system. Whoever states are going to accept the subsidiary alliances system, it means the British East India Company is going to provide them a trained army to that particular king or Nawab. This army would protect the state from internal and external attacks. Now, what is the job or what is the work of this particular army? So, whenever maybe from internal side or maybe from outside, any kind of a attack on that particular state, at that moment, that army is going to protect that particular king or Nawab or that particular state. In return, the state accepting the system will provide for the army or give away provinces with equivalent income to the British. Now in return, as the army is going to give you the protection, in return that particular state has to give income, salary to that particular army or any kind of a provinces. Here the meaning of provinces means any particular kind of a area. So that particular, you can say, equivalent of the salary, that particular provinces will be given to Britishers, and Britishers will, you can say, take the taxes from that particular provinces. Without the permission of the company, the state will not wage war or sign treaty with other states. As you have accepted the subsidiary alliances system, without the permission of this army, the state cannot start a war, or even the state cannot have a friendly treaty with any other state. There will be one English representative in the state assembly. Whenever there is an assembly, there will be always one British representative present always over there. Other foreigners not to be employed in the state. It means only Britishers are allowed. Apart from Britishers, other foreigners, whether they are the Portuguese, whether they are the French, they are not allowed in that particular of state. Now you can see the pic, and in this pic you can see this is Wellesley and this is Wellesley's subsidiary alliances system. Now from the pic you can come to know what is actually the subsidiary alliances system. And here the state rulers who have accepted the subsidiary alliances system were already trapped under the subsidiary alliances system. And which were the state rulers? So the state rulers of Mysore, Nizam, Gaikwad, Awadh. Even Bhosle and Gaikwad, Holkar. This all the state rulers, they have accepted subsidiary alliances system, and they were already trapped under Wellesley's subsidiary alliances system. Now let's have some more information about this subsidiary alliances system. The subsidiary alliances system was like sweet poison. So you can understand what is the meaning of sweet poison. Poison means poison, whether the taste will be good. So here this particular system, in the starting it was looking very much beneficial to the kings and Nawab, but actually it is like a sweet poison. By implementing it, Wellesley annexed, here the meaning of annexed means captured, many provinces and expanded the rule of the East India Company. So under the pretext of this subsidiary alliances system, Wellesley had captured so many states from Indian kings and Nawabs. Governor General Wellesley asked Tipu Sultan to accept the subsidiary alliances system, but he refused. We have done earlier that there was a third, you can say the war, third Mysore war, and in that Tipu Sultan has been defeated. And here they say Tipu Sultan to accept the subsidiary alliances system. Tipu Sultan has accepted the treaty, but he has not accepted the subsidiary alliances system. He refused. For declining it, the company attacked Mysore in 1799 with support from the Nizam. As Tipu Sultan was not ready, once again in the year 1799, Britishers with the help of Nizam attack on Mysore. During this fourth Mysore war, Tipu Sultan lost his life. You can see this is a pic of Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan lost his life while fighting against the Britishers. This was the fourth Mysore war. And in the fourth Mysore war, Tipu Sultan lost his life while fighting against the Britishers. Expansion of the company's rule. After Wellesley, Hastings came to India as a new governor general. He waged a war with Nepal and made the Gurkhas to join the army. Here you can see the pic. Now this Hastings, he actually you can say attack on Nepal, and over there British won the war and Gurkhas have joined the army of Britishers. Hastings fought a battle with the Pindaras and took control over them. Pindara is one of the community in India. Not only that, Hastings has also fought a battle with the Pindaras, and even they have won and they have taken a control over them. With the third Maratha war, on the supremacy of the company was established. Once again there was a third Maratha war, and in that Britishers got the success, and with that Britishers got the supremacy of the overall India. In comparison to the earlier, Governor General William Bentinck, this is a pic of William Bentinck, is known as a liberal Governor General. So after Hastings, there is a new Governor General and his name was William Bentinck. In comparison to other generals, William Bentinck was quite liberal. Bentinck believed that dissatisfaction in different states due to the imperialistic policy adopted by the previous governor generals could not bring about any unity. According to Bentinck, because of the previous governor generals. There is a dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction means people are not satisfied. So there is a dissatisfaction among the people. And if the people are dissatisfied, it means there will not be unity while there is any kind of a work which will be led by Britishers. It means as they are dissatisfied, they are not going to support Britishers. So he was very liberal in his deeds. So whatever kind of work William Bentinck was doing, he was always doing his work with very, very liberal manner. Now, Dalhousie's policy of annexation. Dalhousie came to India as the Governor General in 1848. He was a fierce imperialist. Fierce means very strong, and imperialist means the one who wants to expand their boundaries. Dalhousie adopted the policy of annexation for the expansion of the company and British imperialism in India. So here Dalhousie has accepted the policy of annexation, and he has started expansion of the British East India Company. Dalhousie's policy of annexation. The meaning of annexation means to take away. Here specially annexation means to take away the territories or to take away the state or kingdom. Annexation by war. There are different kind of annexation policies of Dalhousie. Number one, annexation by war means Dalhousie will just go for a war. Punjab and Pegu. This particular, you can say, the two places. Dalhousie's army, that is called East India Company's army, were having a war against Punjab and Pegu, and Britishers were the winner, and they have taken these two states into British East India Company. Annexation due to king dying without heir. Here the meaning of heir means those who are not having a son. Their kingdom will be taken away, will be captured by Dalhousie. In that we are having Satara, Jodhpur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Jhansi. Everyone is familiar with the Jhansi. How the Queen of Jhansi has been fight against Britishers because of this policy of annexation. Baghat and Nagpur. Annexation on pretext of mismanagement, that is Awadh. Mismanagement means, we already know this is a, you can say, here Dalhousie is going to be proved that this particular king or Nawab is not able to rule properly as their management is not proper, and on the pretext of that Dalhousie has captured Awadh. Annexation to end a namesake rule, that is Karnataka and Tanjore. Namesake means for the sake of. According to Dalhousie, Karnataka and Tanjore, they were having kings, but they were only for the name. They are not having any kind of a duty like a king. And that's why Dalhousie has annexed the state of Karnataka and Tanjore. Annexation on the pretext of the debt collection, that is Nizam's Warad provinces. Now here, according to Dalhousie, Nizam has taken, you can say, the debt from Britishers. As the time has been passed out, Nizam was not in a position to pay back, and that's why Nizam's Warad is the name of, you can say, that particular area, that Nizam's Warad provinces has been captured or taken away by Dalhousie. What reforms did Dalhousie bring about? Here reforms means change. Besides being an imperialist, Dalhousie was also a reformist. Naturally, Dalhousie was an imperialist, means he was more interested in expanding the boundary of Britishers, but then also he was a reformist. The first railway line in India between Mumbai to Thane in 1853 AD has been started by Dalhousie. So before that in India we were not having, you can say, the railway, and for the very first time this railway has been started with the effort of Dalhousie. Wireless system between India and England has been started. So between India and England, the wireless system, okay, earlier we used to write it down that letters. We were not having that you can say telegram. Okay, so that particular wireless system has been started by Dalhousie. In earlier time, this wireless system was also known as a system of tar. Tar. You might have heard in olden movies that ki tar aaya hai. Okay, so that's a one type of, you can say, the system of wireless. Establishment of public works department. Not only that, he has also started public works department. In that he has started welfare for the public. English education. So he has also started English education in India. So this is a, you can say, the university which has been started by Dalhousie to give English education. He passed the laws to ban child marriage. At that time there was, you can say, the child marriage, and he has passed a law. According to that law, children cannot go for marriage, and he he passed a law to ban on child marriage. He advocated widow remarriage. Here advocated means he supported. In India, when we talk about ancient time, widows were not allowed to go for remarry. But he again, you can say, the passed a law, and according to that, widow can go for remarriage. This were all introduced during his tenure. So this all the reforms, this are all the changes has been, you can say, passed, or this all the changes has been made when Dalhousie was ruling. And because of that, there are so many changes, there are so many reforms has been came. That is simply because of Dalhousie. So here I'm completing your third part of chapter number 1, Rise of British Rule in India. Please read once again your book and refer this video properly. This will be very, very beneficial from the point of view of examinations. Till then, bye bye.